Thank you for joining me for yet another video, and today's discussion is all about the sales department, and I'll focus on why does your sales department have such a high sales personnel turnover. Now, here at Corporate Staffing Services, as you know, we do offer recruitment services, and I would say 30 to 40% of all the requests we get are for us to hire on behalf of the company a position related in sales. It could be the sales manager, it could be a sales executive, it could even be a sales director. And yet, over time, in the last 6 years, when I look at my data, a lot of the clients, what they complain about is the high sales staff turnover. You know, the staff come, they stay within 1 or 2, 3 months, or less than a year, and they leave. So today I want to address the reasons why, so that next time you're having a high sales turnover, you could look at some of the things you're going to discuss and see whether those are the ones which are causing the turnover. And I would say some of the reasons have to do with the staff and others have to do with the organization. And I'll narrow down to the top 3 reasons because I want to explain each reason so that we can get it right, both of us. So the number one reason why we have a high sales turnover is because 80% of the sales staff, they don't want to be in sales. That's the reality. And the reason why I'm saying this is majority of the sales professionals currently working in sales are what I would call accidental sales professional. Why? They went to college, they got this degree, but they didn't get a job in the area of specialization. So what did they do? What was readily available? It was a sales job. So you'd imagine here is someone, they didn't want to be in sales, but they took up sales because it was the first opportunity. And majority of them have never recovered from that. Some they get to the sales profession, they like it, they appreciate, they like dealing with people, and they want to continue being in sales. However, majority of them, and more so especially at the entry level, between the age of 23 years up to the age of, I believe, 28 years, majority of them are struggling. They don't want to be in sales, and they'll get out at the earliest opportunity. In fact, majority of them, they're just there, they appreciate your salary, but they are very busy sending their CVs to us here at Corporate Staffing Services. So what can you do as an employer? There are 2 approaches you can take here. And their first approach is training the sales staff, especially the entry level, the 23 to 28 years old. To train them on sales technique. Don't just assume, even if they show you in their CV that they've worked in sales before, make time to train them. And here you can get an expert, you can get a firm, you can get people like us to be able to support you, because that way we'll be able to be more objective, and the staff will not look at it like, oh, you're training me simply because you're only interested in me increasing sales and all that. So for objectivity purpose, I would always recommend you get a third party. The second approach, and this is very important, is on the product training. It's not enough for you to hire someone in sales and throw them in the deep end. What I've seen work, and I advise a lot of my clients, is take 1 or 2 weeks or even a month to orient this person. A proper induction will make a whole lot of a difference. Don't fall for the myth that, oh, a salesperson is a salesperson, so they can just come in and within 1 or 2 days, I can send them to the field. No. Remember already, sales is not easy. That's the reality. Whether it's you, me, or the salesperson, it's not an easy profession where someone is always being rejected or being told no. It's not an easy one. So you empowering them in terms of product knowledge will really go a long way in motivating them. And you also training them on sales technique will make a lot of difference. So remember, 80% of the entry-level professionals, they don't want to be in sales. So it's a matter of what can you do to make it easy to make them appreciate sales. And I've seen one of the solutions is training. The second challenge, and I would say this has to do with us as employers, is on the issue of paying a competitive salary. Now, there's a tendency for employers to think, if I underpay this person and I give them very good commissions, then they should go and work hard and earn a lot of money through the commissions. Now, that can work, as long as you're paying a competitive retainer, but you're not going to give someone 5,000 or 10,000 and assume that they'll make up a difference through what? Through earning the commissions. That never works. So I would say, look at your industry, ask yourself, what are the retainers? What are the other sales professionals being made? And try to match, try to be competitive. Because if you don't pay them a good retainer, what will happen is you come, you train them, they'll be looking for jobs, and they'll go to your competitors. And they'll not only go to the competitors, but they'll go with your market data. And guess what? Your work will always be to train other people or to train for other businesses. So it's really important for you to pay the market rate. And when I hear the issue of salary, I know it's quite emotive, whether you are talking to employees or employers. But what I tell people is employees, they are not unreasonable. If you're an SME, they're not going to ask for a retainer of 100,000. But you cannot also be a very successful firm, and they know you have the ability to pay, and yet here you underpay. I think the worst thing you can do to a sales professional is underpay them, because they know the numbers, they know the income, they know even what they are bringing in. So every day they'll be doing the math and saying, why should I continue giving my best to this firm if they're also not reciprocating? And I know the struggle here is on the issue of how do you calculate the commissions, how do you set the targets, the KPIs. And this is an area I've been helping a lot of businesses on, because I know sometimes we can't be very objective when it comes to our own businesses. So if you're interested on learning on how to do proper performance management, how to set KPIs, how to set targets, how to set the commission, that's an area I can help you with. So that is the second reason, competitive salary, the need to pay the market rate. The third reason why we have a lot of high staff turnover in the sales department is on how we approach recruitment. Now, what do I mean? Sales recruitment is very different from other professions. And here, my advice especially is to the small and the medium-sized firm. If you're watching this and you work at Safaricom, you're a manager at Safaricom, this doesn't apply for you. Why? Because you have all the resources, you have all the time to train this person. So if you're a big firm and money is not a problem and you're not looking for results the following month or in the shortest time possible, then this doesn't apply to you. However, if you're an SME, if you work for a medium-sized firm or you're a business owner, trying to make ends meet, then this advice is for you. Now, what I have seen is that simply because a sales person has excelled in one field does not mean they're a good match for your industry. I will give an example. Let's say you get someone, they've been selling soda, they've been working for Coke, and they tell you they meet their targets. They do very well and they speak well, they're confident because they're sales professionals. They know how to sell themselves. But guess you what business you are in? You're in the business of selling houses. Now, selling houses is very different from selling beverage. It's very different from selling FMCG. Now, trust me, no matter how well they did selling soda, selling Coke, it doesn't mean that they'll transfer those skills to being able to sell a house. So if you are looking for quick results, you are better off going for someone who has also sold houses. They've been in real estate. That way, you need not train them. You need not take 6 months or 1 year to train them. Because the frustration I see with many of us in business is someone comes and you expect the results within 1 or 2, 3 months. But the way you hired them from the start is wrong. They simply don't have what it takes and they need to learn on the job. And so if they are from a different industry, it will take them longer than someone who's from your industry, who you need just to be shown 1 or 2 things, and within a month, they've already started delivering results. It even gets complex because even if it's in the same industry, you also have to look at wherever they were working, is the business model similar to ours? Again, I'll give you the example of the real estate. Let's say you sell houses at Karen, and these houses is minimum of 80 million to whatever figure. And yet you get someone and they tell you they've been in real estate, but what do? They sell plots. And the plots they sell is 200,000 or 150,000 in Kamuru, or those 5 50 kilometers inside the town. Now, this person has never sold a 90 million shillings property. Even if they're in the real estate, because land is in real estate, they're also going really to drown. You'll be throwing them in the deep end if you tell them to sell a property of 90 million. They wouldn't even know where to start. So even if you're in the same industry, it does help to look at what business model do we have. If you have time to train, you can get this person who's been selling plots for 200,000, take them through a 6-month program and one year program, and who knows, maybe they'll be able to fit in. However, if you're looking for someone who can sell for you that property within 1 month or 2 months, then this is where you can ask for people like us to headhunt, or even if it's you recruiting directly, ask yourself, where can I find which other companies sell properties similar to ours, and then you go for there and you get the employees from there. Otherwise, getting someone from a very different industry or a business that is not similar to yours, you're really going to have a lot of hard time, unless you have the patience and unless you have enough budget to be able to onboard, train, and make sure that this person is working to your expectations. So those are the top 3 reasons why we do have a high turnover rate in the sales department. And in summary, remember, 80% of the staff, they don't want to be in sales. So it's for us to really be able to see how can we empower them. And if they are young, train them on their product, and also now and then do refresher courses on sales technique. How do you sell? And who knows, some of them might end up like in sales and stay with you. Then also, when it comes to the salary, pay a competitive rate, market rate. Don't just assume because you're paying them a very low salary and they'll make it, they'll be able to make the difference through commissions. It never works. They'll be with you for 2 months as they busy send CVs to people like us. And lastly, I believe you do have to be very careful with your recruitment approach. And if you're an SME or a medium-sized firm, it should be apples for apples. Okay? You cannot get a donkey to do the work of a cow. A donkey, its work is for labor, is to pull. And I'm not saying employees are donkeys, but you get the difference. A cow produces milk, a donkey does something different. So be very careful on how you recruit. So thank you for watching this video. If you have other questions in regards to leadership, in regards to how we can run our businesses better, do leave it in the comment and be able to get back to you. So thank you very much and look forward to seeing you in the next video.